Very good afternoon, all the participants, and we welcome you, sir. Now I would like to request Professor Rajiv Ranjan Sinha, sir, to introduce our speaker. Rajiv Ranjan, sir, please.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Ramkumar, sir. It's my great honor and pleasure to introduce Mr. Vivek Bansal, sir. He is presently working as a educator of mindfulness, meditation, emotional balance, healing and essential life skills at Grow with Vivek Rishikesh. He is a mindfulness coach and believes in transforming all the layers of your personality: physical, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual with fusion of yoga and other modalities from East and West both. His journey of spirituality and wellness began more than 2 decades ago. Then he has been doing various kinds of counseling and self-empowerment programs. He is a 500-hour Yoga Alliance registered yoga coach along with Masters in Yoga, currently based in Rishikesh, Uttarakhand. He obtained his post-graduation degree in telecom software from Pune Institute of Advanced Technology, Pune, and Bachelor of Engineering degree from Kabikul Guru Institute of Technology of Science, Ramtech, Nagpur. He has done Masters in Yoga from Uttarakhand Sanskrit University, Haridwar. He worked as a mindfulness, yoga, nidra, and meditation coach at World Peace School of Yoga, Rishikesh, monk and volunteer at Sri Chaitanya Seva Trust, Mumbai, and monk and volunteer at Bhakti Vedanta Academy of Culture and Education, Pune. Sir, we are grateful to have you in our session. Thank you so much for sparing your precious and valuable time for us. Now, over to you, sir. Requesting you to please start your session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Rajiv. I am very grateful that I have this opportunity to speak a wonderful audience, and I believe that whatever I'm going to share, at least some points out of that talk will be beneficial to your day-to-day life. So this talk is more of a practical talk. It's not like just complete theory. I will be sharing certain ideas about mind and emotional growth. That is my topic today. And how the mind functions and what kind of emotions we go through and how we can deal with them. So the idea is that you can hear the talk, and at the same time you can also participate if you like. Like after talking for a few minutes, I would like to ask you if you have any question or if you have any comment, because it's a practical life issues. So this is not a black and white thing. There are many gray zones in life, and everybody's experience matters a lot. So this session is, everybody is qualified to talk on this session. It's just that I have been given the opportunity, so I am taking the lead. But if you have anything to share or you want to ask anything, any point of my presentation, there will be a facility here where you can raise your hand or put it on the chat, and then we will see how to take it. So the topic for today is mental and emotional growth. Can you see my screen, sir? Can you please just say yes to me? Now, now also, slide has changed. I'm just checking. Showing, yeah. So the topic is mental and emotional growth, and the idea is that in our life we have many priorities, like many of us, they are very much entangled, or you can say focused, in our career, earning some money, taking care of house and family, some social life sometime, or some relatives function sometime. But life is much more than that. Life is not just uh, getting some facilities and making the ends meet. In our life, unless we feel mentally stable and emotionally growing, we cannot feel satisfaction. So many people, down deep in their heart, they are not very happy. I mean, they're okay, life is going on. But that happiness, that satisfaction, that contentment is not there. And many times people have difficulty about different negative emotions, worries and anxieties and anger and frustration, emptiness, and the mind makes fool out of them, you know. So first step in our discussion is we need to understand the nature of our mind. What is the nature of our mind? Mind is a very difficult thing to understand because it is so flickering, you know. That's why it is called monkey mind sometimes. Monkey mind means because monkey keep jumping from one branch to another branch, from one tree to another tree, from one place to another place. Similarly, the mind is, it keep on jumping from one idea to another idea, one thought to another thought, one person to another person. And this too much of restlessness of the mind make life not very peaceful because we lose peace in life. Shanti khatam ho jati. So that is the first thing that we need to understand, that mind is very flickering, chanchala. It's just like a child also. Child means very obstinate. Child, when he decides or she decides something, then they just keep on asking the same thing again and again and again and again. Similarly, if something enters into our mind, some thought, some desire, then mind keep on asking it, keep on thinking about it, unless we try to get it. So that's how mind is. Child is like a child. And also mind is flickering in the sense it has a nature of accepting and rejecting. The same thing mind is asking. After some time, mind says, I don't like it. And after some time, mind says, I like it. So the constant struggle goes on, accepting and rejecting, accepting and rejecting. So that's why we have to be very careful that where mind is going. And it's very strong. Very strong means it's a good thing, because if something is very strong, we can make good use of it. But there comes the main turning point about the knowledge of mind. So mind is our best friend or worst enemy. Based on that, this strength of the mind can be used. If we make our mind our best friend, then this strength can be used to grow in life. But if we make our mind our worst enemy, and that enemy become very strong, because it's very strong, whether it's a friend or enemy, in both ways is very strong, then it can destroy us. So the training which we give to the mind, that actually the most important thing, that will decide that whether it is your best friend or worst enemy. And what is that training that we will see today? It's very obstinate, as I told you. Once that person decide that I want this, I keep on asking the same thing. And the another thing about the mind is, mind has the ability to absorb. What do you mean by ability to absorb? Ability to absorb is like a sponge. When you put a sponge into red color water, then you start absorbing the red color. When you put the sponge into the blue color water, it start absorbing the blue color. Whichever kind of energies mind is coming in contact with, whether positive energy or negative energy, mind is just absorbing it. So that's why we need to be very careful where we are exposing our mind. Are we too much in contact with negative news, negative energy, negative people through social media, through TV channels, through newspaper, or by meeting many people who are always talking negative stuff, clubbing? Then what happens is mind keep on absorbing those vibrations. And when mind keep on absorbing those vibrations, then we become like that. We become very much affected by those kind of vibrations. And we start thinking in a very skeptical, negative way. If we are constantly associating with people who are talking negative about us, then we start doubting our own capacities. Then we start doubting our own capabilities. So this is the nature of the mind. Another thing about mind is like a bird which has two wings. Bird has two wings. Maybe some birds may have more wings. Let's see a bird with two wings. What are these two wings? These two wings are present, no, not present, past and future. So mind is flying most of the time either in the past or in the future. Either it is lamenting about past, something happened, brooding over, crying over, hurting oneself more and more, or worrying too much about future. Worrying too much about future. So this is the problem in the mind, that mind forgets to live in the present. Mind forgets that this is the only reality, this moment, which is a real thing. And another issue with the mind is constantly conversing with itself, constantly having some kind of auto talk, sometimes some negative stuff about oneself, sometimes some things about others, and replaying the past events. And when replaying the past events, rearranging them into a better and better drama, Like people keep on thinking what happened to them like 1 year back, 2 years back, 6 months back, few days back. And they keep on thinking and thinking and feeling sad, feeling worried, feeling angry about somebody, or they're constantly planning about the future. Now, planning for the future is not wrong. It is a very good thing to plan for the future. But not all the time we should be just planning and worrying and getting anxious. We can plan sometime in a day, sometime in a week, but not all the time thinking about the future and discussing the pros and cons of this and that. So, we need to understand, if we can make the mind our best friend, then we can grow so much, we can achieve so much. But if we don't make our mind best friend, then the same mind will pull us down and it just become an obstacle in our growth. Another issue which I have observed in my own life and in people's life, that when people don't take care of their mind, like we have to take care of the body, similarly we have to take care of the mind. When they allow the mind to go just here and there, then mind develop different kind of diseases. It is called sick mind. And the sick mind cannot be happy. Rather, the sick mind start having some unnatural growth. And what is an unnatural growth? That unnatural growth gets converted into cancers. And I call them 3 cancers of mind. What are these 3 cancers of mind? The first one is complaining. Now, there are people, you must have observed around you, that they're constantly complaining about things, constantly complaining about people, constantly complaining about government, whatever. Whatever is the situation, they're always in the mood of complaining. This happened to me, that happened to me, this person did this and that person did that, and why government is doing like this and this and that. Now, if you have asked for some services, like you went to a hotel and you paid for a room, you paid for a food, and something is wrong with the food, something is wrong with the room, it's not expecting what you were promised for that, you ordered something online, or you ordered something from a shop, then you have a right to complain. Definitely you should complain. Definitely you should ask what was promised to you. But if mind is getting a habit, getting into the zone of just, complaining about everything in your life, complaining about food and weather and people and every small thing, then that mind becomes very depressive mind. So please, instead of complaining in every situation, there are small things I'm talking about in the life. If we can start looking something wonderful in them, then we can be better situated. Then the second cancer, which I call it comparing. Sometimes people have the habit to compare. Parents are comparing their children to another children. People are comparing themselves in the office with other colleagues. Now you will say, if we don't compare, how will we grow? No. By comparing, person start feeling low. By comparing, person start feeling envious. Instead of comparing, we need to take inspiration. And by taking inspiration, we can grow. By taking inspiration, we can go ahead in life. So whenever we meet somebody who is more powerful than us, who is more qualified than us, who is more talented than us, we can always take inspiration instead of just comparing and feeling low about ourselves. Then criticizing. What is criticizing? People take so much pleasure in criticizing other people. People take so much pleasure in backbiting, bitching. And why do people criticize others? They think, or they feel rather, that by criticizing others, they can be better. Because criticism means दूसरों को नीचा दिखाना है. Try to show some faults in others and try to bring them down from where they are. And indirectly, subtly, they get a feeling that because I have showed that person a little bit low, then I became high. But we cannot become high or better than another person just by talking ill about another person. If we want to become higher rung, then we have to develop the habit of growing ourselves, becoming the better version of ourselves. Not just by criticizing we become better. So these are the three cancers of the mind, and they never allow the person to become happy. They never allow the person to become satisfied and contented. Rather, person goes into the mood of BMW. I call it BMW mode. BMW car, if you heard, I'm not criticizing about the car, I'm just taking the word from there. B means blaming. People start blaming others. They don't want to take responsibility of their life. And then morning, keep on crying and weeping and just cribbing and then wailing, similar kind of situation. So this kind of things will never help. So we need to learn to grow from the useless battles which are going on in our mind. And what are the useless battles? Useless battles are the thoughts or the kind of noise which goes on in the mind, and we keep on entertaining that noise. We keep on entertaining those kind of situations. And how we do it? By methodically slowing down its continuous ramblings, the internal dialogue. So in our mind, there is a continuous rambling goes on. I don't know whether you have observed it. It's like a noise, white noise. Like say, if you go to a city and you're living in the city, midst of the city, even your room is quiet, but there is lot of noises around. And you can feel the difference when you shift to a village. And when you shift to the village, that constant chattering or the noise which was going in the big city, that is not there, and that's why person feel more peaceful. And that's what happens with us also. Why we are not happy and peaceful? Because there is a constant noise is going on in the background. Constant noise, if you can observe it. And this continuous rambling is about some particular issue. Somebody told you something yesterday. Somebody just gave you a different look to you yesterday or today. or somebody shouted at you like few days back, and there's an internal dialogue going on. How dare he did this to me? How dare he could speak to me like this? How dare that person did this, did that? And there is no meaning to it because that person has spoken something and went away. He may not even remember. Even if he remembers, who cares? Because how it is affecting me? It is internal dialogue, the useless mental battles, the useless mental thought process, and that takes so much of energy of ourselves. So what we need to do, instead of fighting these useless battles, we have to learn to shift our mind and mind energy to focus on positive and uplifting objects. We have to focus on positive and uplifting objects. So which are these uplifting objects, positive objects? There are many objects like that. One of the first object I would share, some positive thought, some positive quote, some positive experience you have gone through in last few days or few months and few years in your own life. Some positive high energy mantra, or some highly positive energy music. So there are so many mantras, so many musical things. If we learn to shift our mental energy to these thoughts from the negative thoughts, then we can actually grow emotionally also and mentally also. This desire to always be in anxiety, not desire, this state of constantly being in anxiety, person can come out of it very easily. It doesn't take much time. It just requires some practice. And what is a practice? That is the first thing I'm sharing with you, that whenever mind is going into negative kind of thoughts, whenever mind is going the mental battles which have no meaning, first we have to learn to observe that I'm going through a useless mental battle, useless mental thought process. Let me just drop it. Let me throw it into the dustbin and let me relish something more beautiful. So having said so, like my way of presenting is that speak for a few minutes and then maybe check with my audience how they are with me and they have something to share or ask. So until this point, I have shared few thoughts about mine. And is there anybody who would like to share something or ask something? If you have that kind of thing, then down there is a facility, maybe you can raise your hand. Participants, chat. Is there anybody who would like to? Yes, my friends. How can they ask, sir? Is there any facility they can ask?
They can mute themselves, sir.
They can, they have the facility.
Unmute. Yeah, they have the facility to unmute.
Okay, wait for 10-15 seconds, otherwise I'll continue my talk. If anybody has anything to ask or share until this point, you can unmute yourself and please ask. That's why I'll continue. Okay, nobody's there. So now, after sharing this little bit about mind nature, I want to share the next thing about the connection between body and mind. This also needs to be understood very nicely, the connection between body and mind. Because once we understand how our body and mind are functioning together, then we can help mind with body and body with the mind. So there is a correlation, there is a mechanism which goes on. So this analogy is given about the chariot of the body. It's a very famous analogy to understand the connection between body and mind. Our body has 5 senses. Chariot of the body has 5 senses. And these 5 horses are compared to the 5 senses. Eyes, nose, tongue, skin, ears. So whatever information we take from the outside world, that information comes inside us through these 5 senses. They're like data entry, you can say. The data entry is happening through these five senses. Our eyes are constantly cleaning the pictures. Our nose is constantly smelling different kind of fragrance. Or our ears are constantly hearing some different kind of noises or the sound. Skin is touching different kind of objects. And tongue is tasting different kind of food. So these five are called five knowledge acquiring senses. And through these five knowledge acquiring senses, constantly data entering is happening. And this data is being fed to the mind, we would say. Or brain. Brain is a hardware for the software called mind. Because when mind is programmed in a certain way, our body and our personality function in a certain way. And this programming of the mind is happening through the data entry, through the different experiences which we are gathering through our senses. And the kind of experiences we have gone through in life, whether in this life or in the childhood or in the teenage or in the previous lives, all those experiences are called samskaras and they are stored in the mind. And that is called mind software. But if experiences are not right, then our way of thinking is also not right. So that's why it matters a lot what we are feeding to our mind. And just imagine if senses are very powerful, as it is shown in this picture, horses are very powerful, but the driver, which is mind, is very weak. If this mind is very weak, then what will happen? The horses will go in all the different directions and the chariot will be out of balance. And when chariot will be out of the balance, the passenger, who is the soul, that will be in trouble. So this is what is happening. It is very important. If you want to take care of your mental and emotional growth, you also keep in mind that where I am exposing my senses and what kind of data entries I am doing towards my senses. Because if senses are focusing on certain objects, then there is a kind of chain. There is a kind of chain reaction starts. Because by contemplating the objects of the senses, which is at the thinking stage, positive or negative, like there is some object which are contemplating. Object, I mean, let's say some particular car. You saw a big billboard on the car on the billboard, and you keep on thinking about it. And you keep on thinking about that particular model of the car, or particular girl, or particular boy. And then you develop attachment for them, whichever object it is. And once we develop the attachment for them, this is called feeling stage. We start having feelings now. And feelings are like, they lead to more attachments because then it converts into lust. And what is lust? Lust is an obsession to have that thing. Somehow you want to have it at any cost. And when you don't get it, because many times in life we don't get what we want, then this unsatisfied lust results in anger. Krodha. And when krodha comes, it gets transformed into delusion. It is said, Dhyaito Vishyan Pumsa Sangaste Shubhajayate, Sangas Sanjayate Kama, Kamat Krodho Vijayate. From the kama, from lust, krodha comes. When your desires are not fulfilled, you become angry and frustrated. Krodhad bhavati sammoha. And when there is anger, then there is a moha, a delusion. A illusory kind of stage comes and that bewilders your memory. Krodhad bhavati sammoha, sammohat smriti vibhrama. Your smriti, your memory get bewildered. And smriti bhramshat buddhi nasho. And then your buddhi get destroyed. You don't understand what is right, what is wrong. You just start shouting, you just start yelling, and the discrimination power goes away. And then one falls down into gross material existence. That person falls down from his own position. So where does it start? It starts at the thinking stage, my friends. Everything starts at the thought. And thought starts by feeding what kind of data you're putting into your mind, you're putting into the memory of the mind, the memory card of the brain, you can say, or memory card of the mind. So that's why be very careful at the beginning stage only. If you're careful at the beginning stage, you can take care of the mind. Don't expose your senses to unnecessary data which is not required and which is very much available in today's time because there is an age of information technology. It's an information explosion actually. But information explosion has also created a lot of problem in the people life because if you're not exposed to the right kind of information, that wrong kind of information will create a havoc. Like if you have a window in your home and outside cyclone is going on, बड़ी आंधी चल रही है, तूफान चल रहा है, and you open your window, all the dust, all the mud will come inside your home. So same thing we may do if we are not careful and we open our senses and mind to any kind of information which is there, it will affect you. Nowadays people are very innocent, in regard when it comes to social media, when it comes to internet, when it comes to media or newspaper, because so much is available. People just want to watch anything and everything, but that can destroy you, my dear friends. Similarly, when you're meeting a person and that person is talking some nonsense and you keep on listening to that person, then those thoughts will affect your thoughts and then they will affect your feelings and then the whole cycle may start. So that's why it is said, mind your mind. Mind your mind means mind your business. Don't get so bogged up, with whatever people are talking. Don't be so curious. There's a saying, curiosity kills the cat. Don't be so curious to know just anything and everything. Because if too much curious, then that thing will affect you. So mind your mind, my dear friends. Mind your mind means because mind is something which has to be handled very carefully. And if we don't handle it carefully, then it may just pull us down. So what we need to do, we need to actually be very watchful to our thoughts, as I've just shared with you this particular point. If our thoughts are not positive, then we have to just don't pay attention to them, discard them. And if their thoughts are, watch your thoughts. If they're positive, you entertain them. If they are not positive, if they are negative thoughts, they are waste, put them into the dustbin. And which are the useless thoughts? Useless thoughts are thoughts which falls in the circle of concern. What is circle of concern and what is circle of influence? It is a very, very wonderful concept. Please try to listen this point very carefully. It can change your whole life. This concept has that much power. Circle of concern are the things that bother you but can't do anything about. There are many things in life which bothers us, but we cannot do anything about them. Like say you have some of your friend or relative, and that person has some particular issue, financial issue or behavioral issue or emotional issue, and you don't have much power to change him. You don't have much influence to change him. But you keep on being, bothering yourself again and again and again, worrying too much. Oh, what will happen to him? What will happen to him? What will happen to him? Or say there is some social issue, there is some social issue or political issue of the country, and you don't have much control, you don't have much influence over it, but you keep on thinking and bothering and talking about it. Like many times people keep on watching the news, and after watching the news they keep on thinking about it, they keep on discussing about it, many issues about the world. Like if I'm living in India and I'm too concerned about Afghanistan, I may have some concern, but not all the time thinking about it because I don't have much control over it. And what is the circle of influence? Circle of influence is things you can do something about. You can really do something about. Which are the things which are in your control? Which are the things in our control? That you have to see which circle of influence you have. Like if you're teaching in a class and you have influence on certain students, then there is some control you have over there and you can worry about them. But if you start worrying about the whole college, about the whole university, about the whole country, that worry has not much meaning unless you start expanding your influence gradually. And how we expand our influence gradually? By slowly, slowly, slowly doing what we can do. Like you have some concern about some particular issue in the college, and you start addressing that issue, you start working hard on it, you start meeting people, you start making a team, and definitely you can even handle bigger issues later on. So this is called circle of influence. When you start working in a circle of influence, that circle of influence, that green circle will start expanding. Somebody voice, this is on. Hello, can you unmute yourself? Yes. So that circle of influence will keep expanding. And when circle of influence will keep expanding, yeah, I'm continuing. It was just a disturbance too much. So when circle of influence will keep expanding, then it will overpower the circle of concern. Your green circle will expand so much that you can actually even address your circle of concern. So please don't waste your time into the things in mental struggles where you don't have much control. And what you have to do when the mind is getting into the small trivial issues, then you have to learn to uplift your mental energies by absorbing yourself into higher things. That can be music, that can be meditation, that can be positive thoughts, that can be some good book. There are so many ways of meeting some person who is very highly surcharged with the spiritual energy. This is the example which is one of my favorite. When you sit in a plane and you fly high in the sky, the big skyscrapers, the big buildings, they start looking like a small matchbox. So if we want to go beyond, if we want to go beyond our small issues, the petty issues of day by day, then you have to somehow uplift your mind to a direction which are high power energy. And that we do by gaining our inner strength and by learning to respond, not react. Many people have this difficulty, they just react like a button, you know. They don't think before speaking, they don't think before reacting. There's a difference between responding and reacting. Because as human beings, we have one very special ability, and that ability is the freedom to choose, the free will. Between any action and response, we have the free will, the freedom to choose. There is a instinct, and you can act by instinct or you can act by choice. So we need to learn to take responsibility of our actions, and after learning to take the responsibility of our actions, before responding, we have to strengthen our EQ, my dear friends. It's a very important concept. There is IQ, intelligent quotient, there is EQ, emotional quotient, and there is PQ, physical quotient, and there is SQ, which is spiritual quotient. So emotional quotient is the ability to handle your emotions, ability to handle your reactions or response. Just because somebody is trying to irritate you, just because somebody is angry at you, just because somebody is shouting at you, doesn't mean that we also need to respond in the same way. Like once Gautam Buddha was giving the talk, and one envious kind of person came and he started shouting and abusing and so many nasty words. But he was just, Gautam Buddha peacefully was sitting and just kept on listening what he was saying. So once he left, his disciple asked him, why did you not react at all? He was trying to give you something, some bad words. And Gautam Buddha said very peacefully, if somebody is coming and giving me some things, and if I'm not taking them, then whom does they belong to? If he's giving me some bad words and I'm not receiving them, if I'm not taking them, I'm returning them back to him. It's going back to him. I don't care what he's talking about me. So he had that free will, that freedom to choose his response. And the whole idea of mental growth is that we practice it. Now somebody will say, how will I do it? You can do it by role play. You know what is the meaning of role play? Role play is imagine a situation where you are in that kind of, maybe just imagine a situation which very much affects you. which very much bothers you. And just imagine that particular person is coming and shouting at you, and then just imagine, visualize, we call it visualization. So through visualization, you can be ready and prepare yourself for similar kind of situation next time. That what kind of response you want to have, which will not affect you, your emotions, and which can help you to grow emotionally at your end. And if you do it, then you can gain the inner strength, and that inner strength is the whole idea of spiritual growth or emotional growth. So my dear friends, the whole idea is that first thing, we need to work on our thoughts if we want to work on our emotions. And the thoughts can be taken care of, the way of thinking we have. And try to realize the power of our mind, try to realize the power of our free will, that if we want, we can bring the change in the situation. If we want, we can bring the change in our personality, our behavior. But the first step is to bring awareness. And the whole idea about this talk today, to help you to increase your awareness, that how my mind thinks, how my mind behave, how my mind respond, and what kind of mental battles I'm going through, which are not required, which are useless. So having said so, you have any question or any comment? Anybody? You can unmute yourself, or otherwise we'll continue. I'll take a 30 seconds break. If anybody has to share or ask until this point, you are most welcome. किसी को कुछ पूछना है, कुछ बताना है, तो हम अभी ले सकते हैं, अभी तक जो डिस्कस किया है. No. Okay. Audience are not responding. So emotions are based on our thoughts. This is my next point, which I want to elaborate on. And it's not what happens to you which makes you upset. It's your point of view which makes you upset. This is a very important thing to make a note of it. Like say somebody shouts at me. Now I can see that point as if like that person is upset with me. Or I can also see that person is in pain, or that person is troubled, or that person is going through some difficult situation. Like see, if your husband come home and he comes and then he's shouting and he's yelling. Now there is two things we can think. This is called point of view. One point of view is that, why shouting at me? What's wrong I have done? I'm so nice to this person, or still he gets upset with me. Another point of view is that maybe this person is going through some trouble. Maybe this person is going through some heavy emotional stuff. Maybe this person has faced some difficult situation today. So these are the kind of point of views. The moment you change your point of view, you can change the way you look at the person. So many of us have some fixed point of views about ourselves and about others. And these fixed point of views, they don't allow us to grow. They don't allow us to, they are called patterns, thought patterns, belief systems, and we have developed these point of views or thought patterns and belief systems from our childhood. Some people have point of views about themselves that they can never be successful. Some people have the point of views about themselves that they can never be happy. Some people have point of views they cannot be good in relationships. Some people have point of views that they cannot do business. Or some people have point of views that nobody loves me. These are all point of views. They have no realities because these are all on the mental platform. So these point of views, they're called paradigms, and it's your point of view which make you upset. That's why it is called pain is inevitable, but misery is optional. So emotions are based on thoughts. So that's why you have to first start working on your thoughts. If you have happy thoughts, you will feel happy. If you have angry thoughts, you will feel angry. And if you have fearful thoughts, you will feel afraid. If you have, best of all, if you can change your thoughts, you can change your feelings. So By monitoring and adjusting your thinking, you can stubbornly refuse to be miserable in anything. And many times people, what they do, they keep on thinking about their past. Few days back, I was talking to one of my friends, and suddenly he became sad. And I asked him what happened. We were talking, we were having good conversation, and suddenly he started feeling very sad. I asked what happened. He said, "Nahi, kuch yaad aa gaya. I just remembered something like which happened 5 years back." I said, "Why you have to remember that? We don't have to remember the bad things. We don't have to remember the negative experiences. And the moment you entertain those thoughts, the negative thoughts will lead to negative emotions. So please, a sure short formula to become sad is to start remembering all the negative experiences of your life. Please don't do that. Instead of that, the idea is that if we want to have positive emotions in our life, then we have to remember positive thoughts, positive experiences. And this need to be done as an exercise. Like we do cleaning of our teeth. Similarly, we have to clean our body. Same way, we have to clean our thoughts. If we are clinging on to negative thoughts, if we're clinging on to negative experiences, then no matter what we do, we cannot be happy. Just before going to a party, if you keep remembering, all the negative events which you have gone through in last 5 years, how will you enjoy the party? It is a very simple and wonderful concept. It can change our whole mind scenario. And then you can choose to be happy. But for that, you have to be learn to be authentic first. Because many of us don't know how to be authentic. What do you mean by authentic? Authentic means start to be vulnerable. Vulnerable word is not very familiar to many people. Vulnerable means just be what you are. Vulnerable like children, When children go through some emotions, they don't hide it. They start crying or they start yelling and they start getting angry. If you're feeling nervous, then say to yourself that I'm nervous. If you're nervous, don't deny your own feelings. If you can talk about your feelings, it is much better. But with whom? You just cannot talk to anybody and everybody. If you are teaching in the class and there are 60 people sitting over there, you cannot just say, "Oh, my students, I'm nervous, I'm anxious." There you have to, not express yourself so openly. At the same time, you're supposed to express your feelings very openly with your friend, with your partner, with your coach or counselor in an open way. And once you start doing it, you become authentic to yourself. And if you have that power, you can transform yourself. Unless we learn to connect with our feelings and emotions, it's very difficult to transform ourselves at deeper level. Being authentic means being honest, being gentle, not just beating yourself, being kind to yourself, giving yourself a chance. And what chance you want to give to yourself? Everybody does mistake. Everybody go through some different difficulties. But the idea is that we learn from our mistakes and we move on. But many people, they get stuck to the negative emotions and they start beating themselves, not being compassionate to themselves. They start cursing themselves. They start saying that, how can I do this? How could I do this? ये मैं ऐसा क्यों किया? ऐसा क्यों किया? अरे, whatever you had done, you done. Now, if you really are feeling repentance about it, पश्चाताप की भावना है, so then now do something better. Instead of repeating the same mistake or instead of not doing anything, then it's a very stage of tamas, ignorance. So what many people do is instead of being authentic, they become too cruel to themselves emotionally. And when they become too cruel to themselves, they are not compassionate to themselves, they cannot even function. They cannot even move ahead in life. So we have to learn to shift from negative to positive emotions, my dear friends. But before learning to shift from negative to positive emotions, we need to also understand what are the negative emotions. Now, in your own mind, in your own place, wherever you're sitting, please try to name some of the negative emotions. Because when negative emotions comes, they scream out at you. They stick to you, if anytime we feel lonely, or if anytime we feel disappointed, or if anytime we feel angry, or if anytime we feel sad, these emotions just scream out at you. Like somebody gives a talk, and after giving the talk, another person gives the feedback. This point was not good, and you were not looking so good, and you were not smiling enough. And that particular thought just stick to you, and you start feeling low about yourself. And when you start feeling low about yourself, you keep on feeling low about yourself. Keep on feeling, maybe 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Maybe next day when you're giving the talk, the same thought is coming to you. It's called like that negative emotion is screaming at you. It just gets stick to you. So that's why it's not easy to shift the negative emotions to positive emotions. The first step is to recognize, being aware. And then the good news is that there are healthy negative emotions and there are unhealthy negative emotions. Develop the awareness of your negative emotions. Are they healthy or unhealthy? What is the difference? Healthy negative emotions are an appropriate response to negative events. If some negative event has happened, like somebody has died in your family, then definitely there will be some kind of sadness and loneliness will come. It's an appropriate response only if you are taking this opportunity as a releasing the emotions. If you have lost somebody in your life and you're not expressing your emotions, the sadness that will get settled down in your personality, in your body, it will create more problem. So there is nothing wrong in crying and weeping when you lose somebody. But if that thing continues more than, like certain period of time, and you just keep losing your own balance in life, then actually that is very sad. So they let you know that something is wrong and encourage you to make positive changes in your life. They let you know that something is wrong and they encourage you to make some positive changes in your life. Like, see, somebody lose money because of some business loss or something, then it's good to be sad. It's good to be disappointed, but they should alert you that you become careful now. If somebody put by mistake hand into fire, then it actually gives a warning, an indication that be more careful next time. But what happens? People get into the unhealthy negative emotions. And what are these unhealthy negative emotions? The unhealthy negative emotions have no beneficial side effects. What happens because of them? You feel much worse than the situation really calls for. Like, say, example is, do you feel depressed instead of sad? Like many times in life, there is a situation where sadness will come. As I gave you the example of losing somebody who is very dear to you, or losing a job, or failing in the exam. So being sad is okay for some time, but are you getting depressed? If you're getting depressed, then it's an unhealthy negative emotion. Being careful is good, but being afraid is not good. Like if you have to go in the night somewhere, you have to be careful which road to take, which path to take, which vehicle to take, yeah, where to go, where not to go. But being afraid means not going at all. And just saying that I cannot go because I'm too fearful. Just dropping the whole thing. Annoyed, if somebody has not behaved properly the way you expected, it's good to be annoyed, unless you show your being annoyed, people sometimes don't function, people sometimes don't take you seriously. But being enraged means just burning yourself day in day out and getting just bogged up, and then disappointed. Instead of disappointed, you become hurt. Like somebody has not behaved, especially your near and dear one, your family member, your life partner, and then you're feeling disappointed. It's good, you can say, I'm disappointed because you didn't behave this way, I never expected this from you. But feeling hurt, what is the feeling of hurt? Feeling hurt means just holding on to that particular sentence or that particular word or that particular experience and hurting oneself more and more and more, again and again and again. This is unhealthy negative emotion. We need to get rid of these unhealthy negative emotions as early as possible as fast as possible by emotional release, by shifting your thought process. Ashamed instead of regretful. Now, if you have done something wrong, then it's good to be regretful, like nice to have some repentance, some regret if you lose some money and if you lose if you something, but being ashamed, ashamed means is a very unhealthy negative emotion, because being ashamed means doesn't allow you to put more energy again into the same direction. So do your feelings push you to do the things that are unhealthy? For example, what happens when you get into the unhealthy negative emotional state? You start doing things which are more destructive to you. One thing lead to another. Do you smoke, drink too much alcohol, or overeat? Do you procrastinate on important tasks? Get into unnecessary arguments with authority figures? This is what happens. People start fighting with their bosses, people start fighting with their partners, people start procrastinating their important tasks, means they don't feel like doing it. They say, I'll do it later on. They just keep postponing the things. So do you have this kind of symptoms? Do your feelings stop you from doing the things you want to do? For example, do you avoid talking to people you would like to meet? Many times people keep on postponing the meetings because they are getting into this loop of unhealthy negative emotions. So my dear friends, if you're getting into this unhealthy negative emotions loop, then you start catching yourself and do something about it. What you can do? You can first have self-love for you. You can first have be authentic that I'm falling in this loop. Some compassion, some forgiveness we need to bring to ourselves. And once we have forgiveness to ourselves, then only we can, what you say, forgive ourselves. We can start the process. And after this, we have positive emotions, because negative emotions, they scream out at us and we keep on holding on to them. But instead of holding on to the negative emotions, why not we learn to hold on to the positive emotions? What are the positive emotions? Positive emotions are joy, kindness, gratitude. But the problem is that whenever positive emotions come, they just whisper. They whisper into our mind. They don't last for long because we have not learned to entertain them. If there's a feeling of gratitude comes, if the feeling of kindness comes, if the feeling of joy, hope comes, we don't nurture it. It comes and goes. It's just like flick of the moment, like a lightning. It's like, that's why I'm saying it's like they whisper. We have not trained them to scream at us. If we train them to scream at us, then we can enjoy, we can relish this moment of being joyful and hopeful for a longer period of time. So the first step is we learn to need to become aware of them. And after learning to become aware of them, we have to understand that positive emotions are not just about being happy. We need to become more specific about them. Because when you people ask them, how are you feeling? They say, I'm happy. But they don't say different specific words about how they are feeling. I'm feeling joyful, I'm feeling grateful, or I'm feeling kind, I'm feeling content, I'm feeling hopeful, or I'm feeling proud, about my achievements. Or pride and ego are different. Pride means taking pride in something you have done, I'm taking pride that I could help somebody today. And then inspiration. This is another beautiful positive emotion. When you meet somebody who is more qualified than you, who is very inspiring personality, and you feel inspiration, you should say, I'm so inspired. I'm feeling inspired. And that's how you have to nurture your positive emotions. That whenever negative issues are coming, you have to shift them to the positive and then keep on positive emotions. So what I'm saying is this negative emotions and positive emotion concept is very important. I will discuss more about them after a few minutes. And again, I'm opening if you still have some questions. Anybody has not asked anything till now. So are you there? I'm just doubtful whether people are listening to me or they're relishing it. But whatever, I will take again 30 seconds break. If anybody has anything to ask or share, you can unmute yourself. Otherwise, I'll continue my discussion. Yes, sir. This is a very practical topic, and I believe these concepts will help you if you can just start observing that where your mind is going. Because many people don't have that awareness to observe the mind. And even if they observe, they get stuck to the mind. But if you can, even this is small concept which I just shared, shifting the negative emotions to the positive and unhealthy and healthy negative emotions, and how these emotions actually can change the whole scenario. The efficiency in the work improves only when you're emotionally healthy. Because when people are emotionally healthy, you can do anything from them, any work they can do. But when people are not emotionally healthy, they don't feel like doing work, even if they're very qualified. This is a very important thing. So observing our own emotions and observing other emotions is a very important thing. Yes, anybody here? No one. Okay, let's continue. So now the next point, the next concept which I'm going to share with you, which is also very important, that our emotions are connected to our emotional needs. Now, what are these needs? People say, I have a need to become rich. I have a need to become famous. I have a need to become somebody very important in the country. Or I have a need to get, best car. I have a need to become, I need to have big bungalow in some big posh area in the city. Or maybe I have a need to find a very beautiful girl or handsome man. People think these are the needs, or the best clothing possible. No, these are not the needs. Emotional needs are actually which defines our personality. And once we understand what emotional needs we have, we can truly learn to become happy. And which are these emotional needs? That is our responsibility to find them, because each one doesn't have the same emotional need. Different people have different emotional needs. So first learn to connect with your needs, because unless you learn what you need in life, then uh, how will you basically be happy? If somebody doesn't know that what makes that person happy, uh, if somebody doesn't know what makes that person happy, how can you make that person happy? If fish is happy in the water, and if you try to put the fish in the nice 5-star bungalow, or 5-star hotel rather, and 5-star facilities, fish will not be happy. Fish will say, in this 5-star facility, you put me into the water, swimming pool or whatever, I'll be happy there. The same way, what is happening, we are gathering many things in our life, but we don't even know what we want in life. So here's a list of some important emotional needs which I'm sharing with you. There is a list of around 20 needs here, and you can, when I'm presenting this, you can continue to connect with these needs. And out of these 20, I'm sure 3 to 4 needs will be like you want them most. Although you may like 10, 15 also out of them, but 10, 15 will not help. Try to look for 4 to 5 emotional needs which directly hits you. And once you understand these 4 or 5 needs which are most important for me, then actually what will happen is you can start working to fulfill those needs. Because the responsibility for our happiness we have to take in our hand. The responsibility for our emotional growth we have to take in our hand. We cannot just say, like last time I was giving the presentation, and this particular lady was again and again saying, no, society is responsible for this, and family is responsible for that, and country is responsible for that. They may be, but can you do anything about them? Can you change the family? Can you change the country? Can you change the society? The only thing we can change what is in our influence. Remember the circle of concern and circle of influence which I shared with you. So if you want to bring any change in your life, you have to take responsibility of your needs. So first need here is written is accomplishment. Second is affection here, appreciation, autonomy, choices, input into decisions, beautiful things to look at. What is accomplishment? Accomplishment means any accomplishment. Some people have a personality that they want to accomplish things one after another. Unless they accomplish things, they don't feel happy. They want to finish the task. They want to complete the task. They get pleasure when they complete something, which they have targeted for. They live to complete things. If you talk to them, how are you? Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just busy completing this particular thing. And once they complete it, they accomplish something, they feel very happy. There are other kind of people, they look too much of affection. If you're very affectionate to them, very kind to them, very loving to them, they can do anything for you. You can get the work done from them very easily. So it's not about just getting the work done from somebody. It's also about, if you are like that, then you should look for people who can give you that affection. And if you can receive that affection from people, what you're looking for, then what will happen is you will feel happy. So instead of being surrounded by people who are not affectionate to you, you have to try your best to be surrounded by people who are affectionate to you. And there are some people who need appreciation. Everybody need affection, everybody need appreciation, but I'm talking about some people need more. And if you are one of them, appreciation is like a food to them. If somebody comes and appreciate to them, they feel very happy and they want to do some things wonderful. So then look for appreciation. Try to find some people who can appreciate your work. Instead of being surrounded by people who are envious to you, why not be surrounded by people who can appreciate you? Then this is very important, autonomy. Some people, rather many intellectuals, I hope many intellectuals are attending this seminar. Many intellectuals, they look for autonomy. Autonomy means they want to work on their own. They have difficulty in working with people. They have difficulty in working under people. Why have they difficulty under people? Because they are independently thoughtful people. They're intellectuals. They want to think on their own. They want to accomplish on their own. They want to produce something on their own. They want to have their own ideas. And if you are that kind of person, if you're stuck into a company or college or a work or job where there is no autonomy is entertained and you're just told to do what you want, what you not want to do sometime, and you are doing just what you're told to do. So that kind of things will not make you happy, even if you're getting a big salary there, even if you're getting a car, if you're not getting a good house to stay. So check whether you have this emotional need of autonomy. And if you have this no need of autonomy, then you need to work on it. Now, you may not leave your job immediately, but at least you should have some work, whether at home or whether your weekends, that where you can exercise your autonomy. So another thing was, what happened to my presentation? Got stuck. Got stuck. I need some help. Yeah, wait, I'm sharing again. Yeah. So I was talking about autonomy. But if you have another need, like you want to have choices in life, you want to have input into decisions or beautiful things to look at, then you have to choose one of those things, in life. Then we have connection, creative expression, fun and play harmony, honesty, truthfulness, learning new skills, love and belonging, order. What is connection? Connection is Like you're working in a place and you don't feel connected to colleagues, then you will not feel like working there. Your happiness will not be there. Because some people have the need of connection. Unless they feel connected, they don't feel like working at that place. This is individualities, but some people don't have this need. Some people think I'm getting the money, I'm getting the work. Who cares whether who is around me? And some people have the need of creative expression. Somebody's mic is has to be muted. Please take care of that. Then some people have the need for creative expression. What is creative expression? Creativity. If you're just doing the monotonous work, like same kind of work, same kind of job, and your mindset is very creative, again you will feel very frustrated. Again you will feel very dumb and dull, not very inspired and happy. The positive emotions will not come. The joy and happiness will not come. If you are in kind of person who is fun and play harmony, like according to your, along with your work, you also like to have fun, also like to have some play. And if you don't get that, you will not be happy again. Honesty, truthfulness, if you look for that, then you have to find those things, those kind of people, those kind of work, those kind of connections where you get the honesty and truthfulness. Somebody's mic, please mute yourself. And if you're a kind of person who like to learn new skills, then try to make some endeavor on weekend, in the evenings, or maybe a few weeks in a year, where you learn something new regularly. When you learn something new regularly, then again the positive emotions will come. So positive emotions will come only when you fulfill your emotional needs. And if you don't fulfill your emotional needs, positive emotions will not come. But to understand how positive emotions will come, you need to also recognize which emotional needs I need to fulfill. There is an emotional need of love and belonging. What is the emotional need of love and belonging? Like you need to feel like belong to some people. If you're not feeling of belonging to your friends, if you're not feeling belonging to your wife or husband or your children or your parents, then again the problem will come. Then you have to start endeavoring in that direction. And some people have the need for order. They want everything in place in life. Order means like the kitchen has to be in order, and the house has to be in order, and the office has to be in order, the table chair has to be, chair, office chair has to be in order, and things are not in order, then again they feel very negative emotions will come. And which are the other emotional needs? I'm sure you are, while I'm talking, you are also noting down the needs which you connect to very much. The need for peace. Some people have great need for peace. They don't want the hustle bustle, too much of uh, trouble in their life. They want to live a very peaceful, serene life. They don't want too much of money, too power, position, name, fame. And if you're that kind of person, everybody wants some peace. But if you're kind of person who's one of the main aim to have peace, then please plan your life in such a way, because everything based on your planning, everything depends on your goal. You have to find out the things which affect your peace and remove those things from your life. Like somebody is a like teacher kind of personality and he gets into management. And if you get into management, management will affect your peace. But if somebody is a kind of manager and if you put him like just some monotonous clerical work, he will lose his peace. You see what things affects your peace and just take them out. Some people have the great need for physical thing, like some people are too much into fitness. They really want good food, water, rest, exercise. And if you're not getting that, even if you have a good salary, even if you have a good job, you will not be happy. Some people have great need for respect. Unless they feel respected, unless they feel valued, they will not be inspired to work. Some people have great need for safety. Some people have great need for security. Some people feel so much insecure under certain situations. So if you're feeling insecure in certain situations, then you need to change those situations. Some people have a need for space. What is the need for space? Space means physical space and mental space both. Some people want a small corner, and unless they get that small corner in the office or in the family or in the house, their mind is always irritated. So then you have to learn to express your need to your friends, to your family, to your boss. And once you have that awareness that my need is to have a space. Mental space means, like, some people cannot do 10 things at one time. They want to do one thing nicely, two things nicely, properly, and then they want to go to the next thing. They don't want cluttering around. And then some people want support. Support means they can do any kind of work, whether it's physical or running around or anything, any task you give them, they're ready to do it, but they only expect you to support them morally, emotionally, being around with them. So if you're one of those kind of person, then look for somebody who can support you. That's why I'm saying you have to be vulnerable. Vulnerable means being honest to yourself, what actually you need in life. Many times we have difficulty in stating our needs. We have difficulty in working on our needs. And unless we work on our these emotional needs, you cannot have positive emotions. Because emotional needs fulfilled equal to positive emotions. Emotional needs not fulfilled equal to negative emotions. It's very simple equation. Some people work only when they have trust. Some people have need for understanding. If they are being understood by people, then they feel inspired. They feel, okay, this man is understanding me, this woman is understanding me, my boss is understanding me. Now I'm happy to do the things. So these are the emotional needs. And if you can work on these emotional needs, then you will have positive emotions. And if you don't work on emotional needs, you will have negative emotions. And which are the positive emotions and which are the negative emotions, I will share in the last part of the presentation. But before that, have you understood this concept of becoming happy or emotionally growing or becoming mentally stable by first connecting your emotional needs and trying to find what emotional needs you have, what emotional needs your family members have, what emotional needs your colleague or your boss has. And once you understand the emotional needs of others, it is so easy to strike a good relationship. It is so easy to have happiness in relationship and to grow also individually. So intrapersonal and interpersonal, at both level, we can bring joy and happiness. So again, I'm asking, is there anybody would like to share something or ask something until this point? If you have that desire, you can unmute yourself and please ask. Okay, the audience are completely non-participative. First time getting such audience in life. Okay, so this is again now, let's continue. So negative emotions arise when our needs are not met. If your emotional needs are not met, negative emotions will come. If your needs are met, positive emotions will come. So which are the negative emotions? List of negative emotions when emotional needs are not met. You'll feel angry, annoyed, anxious, bored, confused, doubtful, disappointed, embarrassed, exasperated, fidgety, frustrated, guilty. Many times people feel frustrated and many times people feel guilty. Guilty means like you have done something wrong and you're feeling too bad upon yourself. You're not able to forgive yourself. Helpless, hurt, impatient, irritated, lonely. So, when we talk about emotional growth, you have to learn to connect with your emotions. If you don't know whether I am helpless right now, or I am hurt right now, or am I guilty right now, or am I impatient right now, or am I irritated right now, I'm lonely right now, then how will you understand that what step to take? If you're mad, if you're nervous, overwhelmed, puzzled, sad, scared, tired, unhappy, upset. So, being vulnerable, being authentic means you need to connect whether I'm sad right now or I'm tired right now. Because many times people say, I'm just not feeling good. But that's not enough. You have to learn to understand whether you're feeling sad or tired or upset, or say in the previous slide we discussed mad or nervous. Unless you connect with the emotions, how will you connect with what you need? And once this understanding is clear, life becomes very easy. And then you have positive emotions. Positive emotions arise whenever needs are met. And whenever needs are met, we become happy. And when we become happy, which kind of emotions comes? Connect with those positive emotions. So next time, whenever you feel amazed or astonished or calm or confident, see which need of your is met. If you're feeling calm in certain situation, you have to make a note. Okay, what happened to you because of which this calmness is coming? What happened to you because of this confidence is boosting? What happened to you because of which you're feeling contented? What happened to you? You're feeling more curious or more eager. And if you can make a note of those kind of needs which are meeting in your life, then you can work to meet those needs again and again and again, so that more positive emotions start coming. Grateful. Whenever you feel next time more grateful, you should note down why you're feeling grateful. Many times, so many wonderful things are happening in our life, but we don't feel grateful. Many times, we don't express our gratitude to the people, to the situations, and we just start cribbing. It's called sick mind. Instead of sick mind, just note down when you feel, just right now, you can think, when was the last time you felt grateful? When was the last time when you felt hopeful? When was the last time you felt inspired or interested in something? Loving, you felt love for someone or some particular situation. Peaceful. When was the last time you were really feeling peaceful? And what it lead to, that peace? Definitely one of your need must have been fulfilled. And because one of your need must be fulfilled, you felt peaceful. When you felt proud or powerful or relaxed or rested or relieved or safe or surprised or thrilled. So these are the positive emotions which you need to understand. And once we understand these positive emotions, then we can actually bring some kind of change. Now, after discussing these emotional needs, emotional positive emotions and negative emotions, I want to share something more practical, like how to practice different kind of things. Because a part of presentation is mental and emotional growth. So I have discussed till now the nature of the mind, that how our mind functions, and how we can strengthen our mind. We can strengthen our mind by shifting the mind thoughts to the positive objects. And when it comes to positive objects, I want to share some of the positive objects. But before sharing the positive objects, I want to summarize that I discuss also about your emotional growth. So emotional growth will happen only when you start observing your emotions, whether they are negative emotions or positive emotions. And once you start connecting with your positive emotions or negative emotions, you have to connect that from where this negative emotion has come, from where this positive emotion has come. And then you can work to fulfill this particular need. And once we learn to fulfill that particular need, like say, if I feel very calm today at particular situation, then I need to understand that calmness is coming because I needed space. I needed a physical space. I needed some mental space. I don't want too much of cluttering in the mind. So maybe I switch off my phone. That's why I created the calmness. Or maybe I went to near the river. That created a calmness. Or I was looking for security. And I felt that security because I was surrounded by one of my trusted friend. And because I was surrounded by one of the trusted friend, I'm feeling more secure right now. So I can repeat the same pattern to bring that positive emotion. So it's all about the patterns. Whichever pattern we are going through in life, they create the similar kind of emotions. So if we can change the patterns by making some endeavor, then you can change the emotions. Like say you have a pattern to be surrounded by people who are not very trustworthy. And the day when you're surrounded by somebody who is very trustworthy, you feel very confident or you feel very secure. So maybe you can plan your life in such a way that you spend more time with somebody who is more trusted, So that's how the patterns are changed. And now coming back to my point of shifting your mind, how you shift your mind from negative objects to the positive objects. So for that, there are many techniques. One of the technique is spending time with nature. And if that is not possible, another technique is uh, you learn to connect with the present. And how you learn to connect with the present, for that, I will maybe practice for a few minutes with all of you if you're ready to participate with me, that how you bring your awareness to the present through your breath. Just by connecting with your breath, you can bring your mind to the present. I have few minutes left before I again just openly up, because I was told until 4 I can speak, but I'll speak until 4:05. And after that, if somebody asks the question, is fine. Otherwise, because participants are anyway not participating today. So I'll take 5-10 minutes extra for my talk. And now I want to share with you this practical, powerful technique, which many of you may be knowing also. I don't know, but still I would like to share how you bring your mind to the present whenever it is going to the past or future, just by simple breathing exercise. So my dear friends, wherever you are, please sit with your back straight, close your eyes, relax your shoulders, relax your neck. Your back of the head is in line with your spinal cord. Your neck is not hanging either right or left or front or back. The back of the head is in the line of your spinal cord. And now you connect with your breath. Connecting with your breath is just start observing your breath. See how your breath is going in and coming out. Because our breath is connected to prana and prana is connected to our mind. So if we want to settle our mind, then we have to settle our breath. So now, for next 1 minute, just observe your breath. Now bring your awareness to the inner walls of your nostrils. When you bring your awareness to the inner walls of your nostrils, you can make your breath more deeper and subtler. Now, as you're observing your breath, your mind will be jumping around here and there. Don't try to control your mind. Just observe the mind as a spectator. Just observe it. And if you observe it and continue to become aware or focus on your breath, after some time, your mind will settle down. Just do that. Instead of trying to control your mind, become a spectator, become an observer, and just observe your mind and continue to be aware of your breath, that how your breath is moving in and out. in and out. Continue to observe your breath. Now bring your awareness to the region of your heart. Now bring your awareness to the region of your heart. And there is a heart chakra over there. Just try to focus and smile at your heart. That how your heart has been serving you for so many years, constantly beating and pumping the blood, and you have not paid attention to your heart. Just look at your heart and smile at him. And when you're smiling at your heart is smiling at you back. And as you're smiling at your heart, and heart is smiling at you, continue to appreciate this present moment by being aware of your breath, by understanding this is the only reality. Now, if you want, you can bring the same awareness instead of the heart to the third eye, in the middle of your eyebrows, and continue to be aware of your breath. Breath is inhaling and exhaling. When you're exhaling, visualize that you're inhaling into the middle of the both eyebrows, like a triangle. Your breath is going inside in the middle of your eyebrows. And when you're exhaling, you're again exhaling out from the middle of both eyebrows. Do this practice and just continuously to be aware of your breath. Your mind will try to go in the past or future. Just ignore it like we ignore the child or baby sometime, or the people who are nagging us. So ignore the nagging mind and bring your awareness in the middle of your both eyebrows. And as you inhale, feel like both the nostrils, as you're inhaling, you're feeling the intensity at the middle of both eyebrows, and then you're exhaling. Now continue to breathe in a very normal way. Now don't take your awareness to the middle of the eyebrows or to the heart. Just breathe in a very normal way. Bring your awareness to the inner walls of your nostrils. Inhale deeply now. Inhale deeply so that your diaphragm pushes your belly out. And as your belly is getting out, your lungs are becoming filled with completely with air. And now exhale very slowly and completely. And this will give you complete relaxation. This is called yogic breathing. Inhale deeply so that your diaphragm pushes your belly out. And as you exhale, your belly goes in and your lungs again contract and take all the air out completely. Do this yogic breathing 5 times on your own. Inhale deeply as if your diaphragm is pushing your belly out. And then exhale slowly and completely. And while you're exhaling, imagine, visualize that you're pushing out, you're throwing out all the negative emotions which are holding in your body, in your mind, in your forehead. Just exhale all the negativity out. Just exhale it. Exhale all the suppressed emotions, worries, anger, anxiety. Now, bring your palms together and rub them nicely, create some heat out of them, and make the cup out of your 2 palms. Cover your both eyes with these palms. Feel the warmth, and while feeling the warmth into your eyes, open your eyes inside the palms and gradually and very slowly take your palms down. So this is a very simple 5 to 7 minute kind of breathing cum meditation, which any time in life you're going through some negative emotion, negative anxiety, just try to practice this, and I'm sure you will come out of your negative state of the mind. If you're in office, then also you can sit on chair and do it just for 5 minutes. If you're in the train, if you're in the bus, if you're in the office, if you're in the home, anywhere, this is quite possible to do it. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share what I had. And I think nobody will again ask the question, so there's no point asking. But still, if anybody has any question, we have 15-20 minutes. We can take it.
One part, hello.
Sir,
I think one part have written.
one question is here in the chat box.
What should be the suitable time to get up in morning?
So table time is in the morning is Brahma Muhurta. Brahma Muhurta is 1.5 hours before sunrise. This is the ideal time if you want to get up, because that is the time mode of goodness is prevailing. Mode of goodness, there are 3 modes. There are different kind of energies are working in this universe. So there is mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. And for mind to be fresh and for meditation, mode of goodness is very conducive, because mode of goodness creates happiness, peace, knowledge, stability. And mode of passion creates restlessness. That's why people are running around in the daytime. They have so much of vibrant energy to do many things, achieve many things. But for meditation, person need to be more calm and peaceful and steady. So the morning time, that's why the parks and beaches and the mountains and the rivers, if you go, you can connect with the mode of goodness, the fresh breezes are coming. And that will be very helpful uh, Helpful for what? For meditation, because if too much noise is there, too much of passionate energy is around, too loud music is around, too much noise is around, because as the day starts there is too much noise start coming, the background noise, and that affects the mental energy. And mode of ignorance is like evening time or night time. That is a time, again, is a time of dullness. That's why people like to sleep or drink, or all those negative kind of activities, they become more powerful in the evening. You don't see people going to the bars and sharab ki dukan, in the morning. Some people may be going also, but most of the people go in the evening time, because that is the time ignorance is increasing. So for every activity, there is a time which has been decided by the nature. And if you get up early, then that is the best time for spiritual activities. That is like 1.5 hours before sunrise. That is the best time. If you cannot get up by that time, ideally we should get up by 5:30 or 6 o'clock. Okay. Anybody else?
Please ask.
You can
Hello,
put
sir.
on your video, ma'am. I can see you if you like.
Sir, I'm Sneha Kumari from Katihar Engineering College. I would like to ask a question.
Please ask.
What should I take when office environment become toxic day by day? Like people are continuously doing leg pulling and backbiting and buttering the seniors one. So what should I take on it? How to respond, or whether to respond or not? Definitely we are not going to react, right? But at some point of time we should respond, as you said earlier in your previous slides. So what should I take on this? How to respond, and what the mental thoughts should we bear in that situation?
Yes, very good question. But this question is like very generic question, because every situation, what to say will depend on the situation. But if you give me an example, I can start from there. Like people do backbiting, we can't do anything about it, and we should not worry also. Let them do backbiting. How does it affect my health at all? Or people, if people are coming and telling us something in front of our face, we should worry about it. And we should be ready to communicate that properly by being firm and polite, by stating the facts. You should be ready with the facts. Many times people are not ready with the facts, details. Give as much details as possible, like as if sometime your boss calls you and boss tells you, Sneha, that I have heard some things about you. You have not been doing this particular thing properly. So you should be ready with all the facts, because facts are truth. Once you give the facts and figures and details, nobody can blame you. Yes, carry on. What are you saying?
Yes, sir. And what if, say, uh, if you're being deceived continuously by some people and you're aware of this
But they are deceiving you on your face or you're behind?
on your face?
How? Like they are shouting at you or abusing you or making fun of you? What they are doing?
Simply lying.
Simply lying. If they are lying and if they are important to you, then you tell the facts. If they are not important to you, just ignore them. And how will you know whether they're important to you? If they are your people who have power, position in the college or in the institution where you're working, then you pay attention. Otherwise, who cares? So many people are going to talk nonsense. Are you going to shut everybody's mouth? We don't have that much time and energy left for us. We just ignore such people. But yes, if your boss is really doing something, then you have to really talk. You have to go and take an appointment, or say some colleague who is very important to you in the same team, or maybe a subordinate. So it depends who is important to me. If somebody is important to you, take out time and energy and clarify that person's doubts. State the facts. If that person is just making fun and that person is just no one, ignore him. Who cares? We don't have that much
Yes,
time and energy to put everybody's mouth shut. We should just
definitely.
ignore it. And that can happen only when you learn to shift your mind. Because intellectually telling is very easy, which I'm telling you. But emotionally, even for me, it will be difficult, because whenever somebody says negative about us, negative emotions comes out. Now you have to shift the negative emotions to positive emotions by bringing the positive thoughts that this person is not important to me. I don't have that much energy and time, and I have better things to do in life. So many ways you can shift your positive emotions, Yeah, you try this. Otherwise, there is no end to it. The toxicity, toxins, they will never go. You have to just save yourself from the toxins by not entertaining what people are talking and saying, unless those people are important and they're going to affect your performance or career.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Anybody
you so much.
else?
Allow sir, please ask your doubt. Sir, one more participant wants to ask.
Yes, let them go ahead. Who is that person? Nobody's coming.
Okay, sorry, sir.
Hmm.
Sir, there are a lot of unnecessary and negative thoughts occur in our mind. How can overcome, sir, this type of thoughts? Please give me some tips about that.
The
I
whole
am very
talk
glad,
was
sir.
about it. Yeah. What kind of negative thoughts comes to your mind, sir? Give me one or two examples.
Example, sir, there are a lot of thoughts, sir. General thought, that means
Don't feel shy. You can share, no problem.
I just angry thoughts, sir. Angry thought, yeah. There are lot of thoughts that
Like say, I'll see, unless I have the example, how will I help? Because the whole talk was, then you have to connect. See, if angry thought is coming, let me take the example of anger. If like too much anger is there, anger comes only when, can you please mute yourself? The anger comes only when our desires are not fulfilled. So then you have to find out which desires of mine are not getting fulfilled, or which person is creating or causing anger in my life, and how much importance I am giving to that person. So many negative comes in chat also. They are saying many negative things come in mind. How to avoid the same thing our friend is asking. So many negative things when they come, then you have to replace them with positive things. That is the only way. Or you have to release the negativity, because many anxieties, many worries which comes, they don't have any factual value. There are many anxieties, if you write them on paper. So whenever next time some negativity comes, write down on paper. Let's say negativity of what will happen to me after 5 years, or what will happen to me, my job or career. So mind nature is to play with you with some false emotions. So deal with the mind, you have to deal with your intelligence. And how to deal with the intelligence? By writing the facts and figures. Write down the facts and figures on a paper whenever mind comes up with some problem. And then mind will keep quiet. And you show the paper to the mind. See, these are the facts. What is the possibility? What is the probability that this thing will happen? About anger. This is about anxiety. About anger, again, you have to see what is causing the anger. You have to go to the root of the problem. Now, anger is caused by unfulfilled need. Now, which need of yours is not met? You give me the example, I can help you. This is a personal counseling question, because this is not a generic question. Every emotion, every situation will have different situation. But the concept is that there is some needs of your life which are not being met. That's why you're getting angry. And about anxieties and worries and negativities, you have to replace them with positive thing. Like say, sometimes people lose their self-worth, after failing in an exam, or after not getting promotion, or after breakup. Like recently I was counseling a girl, and she was in a relationship with a boy for 16 months, and afterwards this boy didn't commit for marriage or whatever, and she felt very uh, what you say, worthless, and constantly she's talking, am I so bad, am I useless, I'm this, I'm that, am I this, am I this. She completely forgot about her strengths. She completely forgot about what good she is at. She was like one of the best employee in the previous company, and now she is saying that I'm useless, I'm good for nothing, because somebody didn't pay attention to her from whom she was expecting the attention. So these are the emotional issues which come. So then you need somebody else who reminds you, who bring you back. Or if you are strong enough, then you write down on the piece of paper your wonderful qualities, your strength, your positivities. So negativity can be replaced only by positivity. And positivity can come by positive thoughts or by uplifting your mind to the positive realm, by meditation, by mantras, by chanting, by prayers, by kirtans, by music, by meeting some people who are very positive. On your own, it is very difficult, sir, to get out of the negativity, because that requires years of practice. But if you don't have that years of practice, you need to be in touch with people who can shift you, who can help you to shift your negativity to positivity. And if you want to do it on your own, then you practice every day. Like you can just make a routine that every day 10 to 15 minutes I will observe my mind. I will just go through the scan my whole day, which were the moments where I felt negative about myself, about somebody, and then I will write it down and I will try to think, is there anything positive in that situation? Like say COVID situation has been going on for more than a year now, 1.5 year almost, and it's quite a negative kind of thing, very depressing kind of atmosphere many times with many people. But there is some positivity also in that. Whatever, what can be the positive things in that? That can be a good homework for you. Write down some 10 good points which happened in your last 1.5 year, which you could not have never done. It's quite possible, like, because see, I give you my own example, because I teach in Rishikesh and a lot of foreigners come here, but due to COVID for last 1.5 year nobody has come, so my business is almost shut down. And that is the reason I am giving the classes in this FTP, trying to find some more ways to connect with my audience. But the advantage of it, like, I'm able to connect. This situation forced me to find out some other opportunities for me to give the talks. So although financially it's not very lucrative, but I have the opportunity to connect with so many professors, engineers, and also I had the opportunity to stay more with my parents, which is like 200 kilometers from my Rishikesh, which was not happening for last 5-6 years, because I was stuck here. So like that, in every situation, you have to find out which are the positive outlooks and replace them. Because some situations we cannot change, some situation we can change. And the situations which we cannot change, we have to find what is the positivity in that situation. This is my answer. Anybody?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. I will try to do, sir, from today. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more
So-
participants want to ask?
Sir, you can summarize. I think it's time. Only 5 minutes are left. Nobody's
Yes, sir.
asking.
Okay, thank you, sir. I would like to thank Mr. Vivek Bansal, sir, for delivering and enlightening us with their knowledge. Session was full of knowledge and interacting facts, especially the points when Mr. Vivek Bansal, sir, told about cancers of mind, growing from useless mental battles. Emotions are based on thoughts. Learn to be authentic first, shifting from negative emotions to positive emotions. I am pretty sure their precious knowledge that Mr. Vivek Bansal sir gave will definitely help in our research in our daily to daily life. I would also like to thank our participants for your kind cooperation. Thank you, sir.
If anybody want to watch some more videos on mindfulness, I have a small channel. Few videos are there. You can see on YouTube, Grow with Vivek. You will find many more concepts regarding to very practical topics about yoga, philosophy, and the mindfulness and emotional issues. So that's, if you want. The channel name is Grow with Vivek. So thank you very much. It's my pleasure to talking to all of you. Maybe sometime in live we'll meet. Namaste, sir. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, dear all participants. Today session was over. Session is over. Now we will again, we will be tomorrow at 10 a.m. morning sharp. Thank you all.